South Carolina has joined Virginia today as they pre-file an application for a convention of states. Other states plan to follow their lead, including Florida, later this week. It's no secret that Americans aren't happy with Washington, says Representative Bill Taylor. Career politicians, both Democrats and Republicans, have ignored the best interests of this country, allowing debt to spiral out of control while stripping states of their rightful power and robbing citizens of their personal liberty. This isn't new. It's been happening for decades. Washington will never limit its own powers. They will never pass amendments to balance the budget, to put term limits on themselves and give states their rightful constitutional authority. Bob Menges, who teaches constitutional law and known for speaking on the need to return to limited government under the Constitution, is the director for the Convention of States project in South Carolina. Find if there is a Convention of States project in your state. We need I can never remember if we're the blue states or the red states. Red state. How did we get red?
Shouldn't they be red? We've always thought that.
I mean,
really
right. It always was that way. How did that flip? Anyway. When framers agreed on September 15, 1787, to add a provision in Article 5 for the states to amend the Constitution, they were in effect telegraphing a message to us in 2013, a message to us showing us the way back inside the fence of the Constitution, a way back to what Thomas Jefferson called the chains of the Constitution. Legislators in states must know that grassroots teams will have their backs if they support a convention of states. This is what Mark Levin, his book is about. I have been talking to several people that I trust and are not radicals at all, that know the Constitution. And I have been asking them all, have you read Mark Levin's book? What do you think of a constitutional convention? Constitutional convention scares the crap out of me. Because it opens everything up. However, that is only if the states are out of control. And there's a lot of people that are now fighting it on the conservative side. And I warn you that I believe this is the only way back. There's a massive reset coming. And the Constitutional Convention is the way the founders put this in there and said, in case it ever goes awry, the states can get together and they can agree, we are going to talk about these things, term limits, a constitutional mandate on debt. I'm telling you, Congress will remove the debt ceiling. And there is nothing you can do about it. There is nothing you can do about any of these things unless the states get together and say, we're going to have a convention and we are going to amend the Constitution. That is what the founders put in that document. They put it there for a reason, because there were all kinds of trapdoors. There were all kinds of checks and balances. This is the last one. This one is not used for the foolhardy. This one was put in there in case of an emergency, break glass. In case of last resort, when you see that 30 seconds to detonation, 29, 28, that's when you pull this one. And Mark Levin makes a great case for the Constitutional Convention. And if you haven't read it, you should. But find in your state if they are doing this. I know this is only going to make more enemies with, conservative groups, because some conservative groups, I think the Eagle Forum is one that is dead set against this. But
well, the belief is that if you do this, then that's going to subject it to the global government people, and they're going to change the Constitution in every way. But it will not. But not if first of all, if we can't get, how many states do we need? 25, 37? 37. If we can't get 37 states to agree
You're not going to get 37 states to agree on a global constitution.
No, you're not.
But if you could get 37 states to agree on a budget and term limits, that's easy. That is not that hard. And if you can't get 37 states to agree on big things like that, we're done anyway, gang. We're done.
Well, and the other thing is on the argument they make, which I think is convincing on the out of control sort of constitutional convention from Mark Levin when he was on, said that, if there's something really bad like the global constitution, you're going to need only 13 states to stand up to stop it. Mm-hmm. So if you can't get 13 of the reddest states to stand up and stop something horrible,
done anyway.
We're screwed out.
Yeah, we're done.
So there's no way you're not going to get the global constitution because we have 13 states that can stand up against it. There are 13.
Global constitution's a lot. I mean, but there are other things in there. God only knows what else they could try to slip in there.
They were worried about gun control and all those kinds of things, which that could happen. But I don't think
you're going to get 13 states to go against gun control.
Yes.
You'll get 13 states to go against that.
Yeah, there are enough conservative states.
But you can get 37 to say spending limits.
Yeah, you could. I think you could.
Return us to fiscal sanity. You can get that. You can get 37 states because you can't affect the people in Washington. But I can tell you that you can surround the Capitol buildings and say, we want term limits in Washington.
Yeah, you can get 37 states to do that. You can get 37 states for them to read the bills.
Especially because you take those 4 things that Rand Paul talked about. Just take, 3 or 4 things that he talked about.
Yep.
Those are so common sense. And as long as you're not affecting the local politician, which you wouldn't, the local politician has everything to gain.
My amendment would be to send all representatives back to their districts.
Mine would be,
I wonder if
too.
you could get 37 states to agree on that.
Send
them all home and make them work out of their district.
Can I make a case for this? I think this is such a great idea. We were talking about this years ago, that right after September 11th, the Capitol building is a target. It's a target. It's a target for terrorists, but it's also a target for special interests. If you send all of the representatives, we have the technology right now. If everybody stays in their own state, you didn't have to do this before. You didn't do this. You did this 150 years ago because you didn't have airplane travel. You didn't have the internet.
You didn't have teleconferencing.
Right.
Yeah,
everything can be done.
Yeah.
And it breaks up all of the power. It makes all of the special interests, they have to travel from state to state. And you're not putting the senators, you put them right in the smack in the center of their constituency. Not all in a big group, so they can just have to break it up from 1 to 50. You have their offices all over town. And so there's no groupthink. You then don't have to travel to Washington to see it. You don't have to have them come and have a town meeting.
I'm going to their office.
I'm going to your office. I'm having an appointment made with you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what that does is catastrophic failure. God forbid somebody, like 9/11, they tries to destroy the Capitol. You have survivability. It makes all the sense in the world. You're spreading your risk out all over. You are breaking up all of the things that we know are bad for government.
Look at the benefits of that.
Oh, my gosh.
You get them back to their constituency, so it keeps them grounded.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps them away from the K Street lobbyists, because then
K Street's gone.
It's gone.
What happens? They don't just take a cab. They don't have these big parties where everybody is coming. They don't have it.
Keeps them out of groupthink. And if they need to, if there's some emergency thing where they all have to get together, they still can do that.
And here's the other thing.
3 times a year.
It doesn't require. Now, how many people do we know that are, I can't afford to go to Washington. I can't afford to do that.
You wouldn't need to.
Toward my you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't need 2 houses anymore. You've got your house right there where you live. You're not being uprooted.
I really think.
I think that's
might be the single most important thing we could do.
Yeah, I think it's a life-changing thing. But anyway, find out, please, about COS. It is it's a convention of states is what it's called. And do your homework on this. Politically speaking, I think it is time. It is time. The document that we have is living. It is breathing. But there is a way to do it. And this is the way. And this is the This is the one that you pull that throws off the canopy. But I got news for you, gang. You better throw the canopy open and get out of this damn plane because this plane's going to crash. There is a reset coming, and you need to have your power back at the states, and you need to break up the cabal in Washington, and this is the way to do it. Please do your own homework on this and decide for yourself. Convention of States.
This is Glenn Beck.
Mercury.
South Carolina House member Bill Taylor just tweeted, "Thanks, Glenn Beck, for praising South Carolina's legislative initiative in support of the Article Convention of States. Your support is huge, Glenn." I don't know about that, Bill, but I do support it. And I wrote to Mark Levin last night because I've been doing my homework on the Convention of States and you know, asking the people that I really trust, show me the downsides in this. And we're all really kind of coming to the conclusion that this is the time. You know, when George Washington said, "Let us raise a standard that the wise and the honest can repair. The event is in the hand of God." I really believe he was talking about us. I really know that they knew at some point, I don't think they knew it was going to be this long, but they knew at some point you would need to pull an escape pod, and you'd have to start all over. And in a letter between Jefferson and Adams in the 1820s, towards the end of their life, they're going back and forth, and they said, you know, we blew it. This thing's going to come apart. We should have put more Deuteronomy in it. And the other one answers and says, yes, it is going to come apart, but trust the people. We did our best, and there will come a time when it comes apart that those people will see what we were trying to do, and they will do a better job. Well, I really, truly believe that's us. We do know what they were trying to do, but they had to deal with slavery and everything else. And it is time for us, the wise and the honest, to repair it. Now, the biggest tool in the box is this Article 5. And it says when you have trouble, the states can get together, and you need 37 of them, and they can amend the Constitution. You don't have to. You'll never get term limits. You'll never get term limits because the people in power will never vote for it. But through a convention, the state legislatures can do it. And it is, I know that I realize this is a scary thing for many people, and people will try to scare you on it. It's what the founders intended. The founders said, trust the people. Now you have to decide, do you trust people or not? If we don't trust each other, if we don't trust that we can open up this Constitution and do it right at the state level, not Washington level, at the state level, if you don't even trust the people in your own state, well, there's nothing left anyway to save. Let us raise a standard that the wise and the honest can repair. Ask yourself, do you think people are going to get better or worse from here? Like it or not, we are the generation Washington foresaw. It's time to be wise and honest and do the right thing. Constitution of States. Look it up.
Glenn Beck.
Mercury.